Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Malifaux. I hope you brought your ear mufflers and woolly mittens because this battle is as stone cold brutal as they come. And this game was an absolute blast to play, literally. And I hope that comes across. Okay, so it's my first game against Rasputina with Collodi. I got told I was deploying first, and so it's deployed over here in this corner. Or on these flanks, rather. And obviously I know Rasputina is a blaster, and so I try to spread out, which is not easy to do when you've got 10 models. And a freaking great forest in your deployment zone. So I should probably say the terrain is these brown things are forests, so walls, wall, impassable terrain, blocking. Yeah, I think these are height 2. These are height 2. There's height 1 in the middle, probably height 3 or so. Yep. And I had so much fun playing my poison list last time, I brought it out again. So we've got Lelu, Collodi, with Fated, Threads of Fate, and Strum the Threads. Dress Marionette, Brutal Effigy, Wicked Doll, Performer, Widow Weaver with her handbag, Wicked Doll, Marionette. My crew has got 3 cells. The first cell is the Scheme Runners, which are the Marionettes. I'm going to do a similar trick as I did in my previous game, speeding them towards the squat markers to claim them early, and getting Scrap in a nice central position. This one is going to be more flanking, so I'm just going to hope that he can tie up and delay my opponent on this flank. Second cell is the Poison Bomb. I'm going to have my Wicked Dolls, Widow Weaver, Performer and Lelu hit the centre, bog down his big models and hopefully control these markers. We're going to lose a lot of Wicked Dolls, but they're going to keep coming back. And we'll see how the big nasties like taking 9 poison all in one go when the Performer goes around with the drinks. Widow Weaver's my bodyguard target, and she's going to try to keep a low profile whilst going right up aggressive. Hopefully she's going to slip through one of these rocks and away from the mosh pit to where she's not a very appealing target for Rasputina's blasts. Lelu is deployed a bit badly. I did mean for him to go up and kind of claim that and then come back towards the centre, but he's not fast enough and he's too expensive. So I reckon I'm just going to send him towards the centre and help out the Wicked Dolls. And this goof might have been to my advantage because my opponent was convinced Lelu was my bodyguard target. Third cell is Collodi and the Brutal Effigy, and they are the troubleshooters. Maybe we should include Lelu in this as well. And one of the things Collodi most excels at is being an anti-beta piece. So his job is to pseudo-paralyse Snowstorm and the Ice Golem, so they can't attack my little minions whilst we're poisoning them to death. And once they're out of the way, I reckon I can dogpile Rasputina with as many puppets as I can summon and take her prisoner in the late game. My opponent, Joden the 13 Fates, has brought an Ice Golem with imbued protection. A frickin' sweet Snowstorm conversion. Also with imbued protection, it looks like. Rasputina with Armour of December, Child of December, and Cold Nights. An Ice Gammon. Hawkcat Bride, whatever that, the Wendigo, and the December Acolyte. Deploying from the shadows there. Let's rumble. Turn 1. Mr. Fates won the initiative. He activated the Wendigo first and put up his ice markers, copying Rasputina's ability, right in front of the squatter marker that my Marionette wanted to get, which is very annoying. So I strummed the threads with the Marionette and took this one instead. Snowstorm moved up, bringing the Ice Golem with it, and I guess he thought he was safe from my mean old puppets where he was there behind all those rocks and ice and stuff. Little did he know. The major play from my perspective this turn was swinging Collodi all the way around here, using all 3 of his activations, personal puppeting one of the Wicked Dolls, and that puts everyone within the Wicked Widow Weaver and Collodi's from the Threads bubble, and the Wicked Dolls just go apeshit. The personal puppet runs up to bog down Snowstorm, the other 2 Wicked Dolls go fast and grab the squat markers. This Marionette couldn't make it because he wasn't quite within Collodi's range, but he's now hanging out over here because I want to try to contest this, and if he dies, I want the scrap marker to be at least grabbable. The Acolyte moved out and shot him for a slow, but he's still got his hard to wound with 2 wounds. The Performer and the Widow Weaver have moved up to kind of like a cover position, but where they can be in range to threaten. And I particularly liked how Rasputina's moved over here, so my Widow Weaver has got a lot of models and terrain in the way, and I'm not really worried about the Wendigo or the whatever it's called, the Acolyte. Although, the Acolyte can punch cards out of me, which is really annoying. Lelu's heading towards the centre, and very rudely, the Golem threw my Marionette off the squat marker. I had hoped to engage all his frozen heart, or whatever they're called, models, so that he couldn't ice mirror through them, but now I've got a rather big threat here that I'm going to have to sort out quickly next turn. Turn 2, can't remember if I stoned for cards. I don't think I did, because I was wanting to save them for keeping the Widow Weaver alive. I want to stop Raspy from using her ice mirror through the golem, so when I win the initiative, the marionette charges the golem, in range by a whisker, and she does me proud. You know this is my favourite one, because she red jokers the damage, and that was just hilarious. In response, the golem batted my marionette away like a shuttlecock, and she hit the performer, and I had to cheat to stop the performer taking damage. So with the ice mirror freed up again, Lelu charged in, and he did me proud. He did a load of damage and put 4 poison on him, and the golem only has 4 wounds remaining now, which as soon as she got the opportunity, the performer, looking over the marionette's head, siren called him to take that damage, leaving it with 2 wounds I think, and then she siren called Collodi up to join her by the forest. Snowstorm attacks one of my Wicked Dolls and kills it. He tries to attack my personal puppet Wicked Doll and can't kill it, and then he pulls the golem out of combat for all kind of nefariousness, no doubt. So this picture is partway through Collodi's activation. So the brutal effigy went, feared him not the sword, ran up to just here. Collodi then accomplice, crept up out of the forest where the performer had brought him, and I can see the golem, who's height 3 over this 2-inch terrain. Obviously I strummed the threads to go fast. I killed the golem with more damage than his imbued protections could prevent, and then I walked over here and slowed Snowstorm as well. I don't actually know who my opponent's bodyguard target was, but I'm guessing it was the golem. So that was quite a nice activation. But it seems that's pissed Raspy off. She spends a soulstone for a suit and a soulstone for the positive flip, targets my dress marionette, and does a freaking huge amount of damage with blasts everywhere, which hits the performer and the brutal effigy as well, taking them both to 1 wound each. The trigger means she gets to do it again for free, and finishes off the marionette and the performer, not blasting quite so much to hit the brutal this time, so he survived. Not content with that, she paralyses Lelu and then shatters him for 4 damage. Such ghoul! And there's a close-up of her smug little face. Lelu's coming for you, bitch, just as soon as he thaws out. By the end of the turn, we've both claimed 2 squat markers each. Joden is trying to block me from getting behind his lines with ice pillars, and the Hawkats moved to block Lelu. And I'm concentrating my forces in the centre with Collodi's bubble nice and up. I took a risk with the Widow Weaver. I could have moved her to cover over here, but I wanted to get a shot off at Snowstorm, because once he's down, I don't think Rasputina's going to be able to handle the puppet tide that's going to be coming her way. Turn 3. I think I sold stoned for cards this turn. And the devastation continues. Joden got the initiative and Rasputina went first. She blasted my Wicked Dolls into icicles, and then shattered Lelu to death, allowing the kitties to break through and run around to try to hold up my effigy, who escaped their clutches and moved over to here. Tag teaming Collodi in, who brought down Snowstorm. And yes, I'm forgetting to draw cards every time I kill a model. It's just how I roll. I summoned in another marionette, who just went over here to, loiter by Rasputina. He's clearly going for this squat marker. Shh. Annoyingly, the Wendigo's blocked in the Widow Weaver with his ice pillar things, and I'm starting to worry that my opponent might be onto me and he's twigged that she's the bodyguard. I can't measure in case I give it away, so I couldn't be certain she's far enough away from my deployment zone for her to start scoring when I need her to. Fortunately, it turns out she is. I'm surprised she didn't summon, but I think I activated her late in the turn, and I just didn't have the cards even to do with soulstones, as taking down Snowstorm was a bit intensive. A shout out should go to this marionette who's been taking all the Acolyte can throw at him and has taken no damage. Best totem in the game, Mr. Hiddlefon. Turn 4, the initiative's pretty important here. I'm concerned he's got Assassinate and Collodi's standing right in the open. But unfortunately, Joden gets the initiative. Well, actually, I'm sure he was happy about it. Rasputina just pushes out of engagement like it's nothing, and then uses her freeze over ability to paralyse Collodi, and there's nothing I can do because he's just not very good at defending himself like that. She also hit him for 9 damage, which made me kill my brutal effigy without a second thought, because hell no, I'm not taking 9 damage. And I believe that was from her shatter ability with the demolish trigger, which he spent his last soulstone to do. And yeah, now I'm scared. I'm used to throwing around AP with Collodi like it's candy, and now I don't have him for a whole turn. Like, my mind is blown. What the hell am I going to do? Without him, I'm just a bunch of 3 and 4 soulstone puppets with funny poses. I did manage to run away home closer to her because I'm pretty shocked at the moment, and I'm terrified that these things can eat me and everything can eat me because I'm paralysed. So forward we go. So with that less than stellar start of the turn, we cycle through to the end, and basically everyone's rushing back towards the centre. Because what happens here is going to decide the game. The Widow Weaver has managed to bring 2 new Wicker Dolls into play, and I've positioned them to engage the cats and Rasputina, trying not to make it too obvious that I'm going to try to dogpile her, and I'm not sure if it's working. I should probably mention that throughout the game I was terrified that my models were going to get eaten by these cats and the Wendigo because of all the paralyse, forgetting they can only do it to living models, and so that means the only thing that was in danger was the performer, as everything else in my crew is either a construct or a nightmare. Also just realised the trick he was trying to do with the Wendigo. I mean, I think this is it. He's made these pillars here, so that at the end of the game he just takes them away and walks into base contact with my Widow Weaver, who was his take prisoner target. Good idea if that's what you're up to, Joden. Turn 5, quite important turn, and that hand is not going to be helping anybody. Fortune smiles, and I win the initiative. Collodi goes. Obviously Collodi goes, he's not getting paralysed twice in a row. I kill the cats, summon the marionette, personal puppet the marionette, so even if it dies I can retract and keep my personal puppet aura going, because I'm still pretty sure he's got assassinate. I hit Rasputina for a slow, which we realised later wasn't a slow because she's got that counter spell thing which stops my suits, and basically just decided to run off over there to be away from the acolyte and within my personal puppet range. As things progress, all the puppets converge on Rasputina for a gangbang party. She plays the Ice Queen, but we all know she loves her some hot puppet. Let's see you get out of that without moving. So the ever-cunning Joden uses his 1,000 cuts to kill my marionette, opening escape route. Really annoyed I didn't get slow on her. And then she pushes off over here, and that's okay, because the Widow Weaver is just going to nip around the rock, summon, and we're going to get right back in for an end of the game take prisoner. But damn it all, Raspi, she paralyses the Widow Weaver again. Well, not again, but you know what I mean. Oh my gosh, that's an annoying power. However, I've still got a Wicked Doll who can keep pace with Raspi. I go defensive rather than hitting her, in case he tries to kill her with something, because he's onto my scheme now. The Wendigo moves up to engage the Widow Weaver, and he's slow because actually Collodi moved up here and hit him for a slow. Well, that's what happened. And then finally the Acolyte has claimed his second squat marker, so Joden can score again this turn. So there we are at the end of turn 5. I've won. Good game, everyone fought hard, let's go and relax. But then my deck betrays me, and I flip a 10, and we go on to round 6. Ah, crap. He knows what my schemes are. Obviously at this point I don't know what his were, because he never had to reveal Bodyguard, and I'm still thinking he's got Assassinate on Collodi rather than take prisoner on the Widow Weaver. Tense! Turn 6 is a bit of a blurry photo because my hands are shaking. I've got 1 soul stone left, and look at those cards. And I decided I'm going to need it for keeping shit alive. And of course Collodi's a gentleman, so ladies first. Raspi shoots into the engagement with Widow Weaver, hits the Widow Weaver and paralyses her. It would have happened either way. And follows that up by Red Jokering the paralysis attack on Collodi. So things are coming down to the wire, and I've got 3 puppets left. Guys, if you're wondering, this is how you beat Collodi. Blasts and paralyze. And Perdita, but we won't talk about that. So it's time to break a leg, little puppets. The marionette goes, runs round behind Rasputina to get line of sight on the Widow Weaver, drags it along out of combat, and I do that because I'm still terrified the Wendigo is going to devour her, and I at least want to make it waste an action getting out of combat. Which it does, moving in to engage her, attacks her for 2 damage, and I don't Soulstone in case the Acolyte comes in and does a bit more. The Gammon charges my Wicked Doll, and this Gammon has had an absolutely dreadful game. It's shot into combat about 3 times and twice hit Rasputina, and now it fails to do anything to my Wicked Doll, who then just skips out of combat to go party with Rasputina. I want to make absolutely sure there's nothing he can do to get her out of engagement, as I know the Acolyte's got a harpoon gun, and for once I've set things up right and he can't get the angle, so he just walks around here to engage the Widow Weaver and doesn't do any damage. And there we go, guys, that's the end of the game. Hard fought and great fun. I ended up scoring 4 points for Squatter's Rights, 3 points for Take Prisoner, and 2 points for Bodyguard, because when I pushed my Widow Weaver 2 inches this way to protect her from the being eaten that couldn't have happened, I pushed her back within the deployment 8-inch range so I couldn't score bodyguard for the final thing. No, wait! She scored on turns 4 and 5, and she's taken like 2 wounds, which means she's not below half, and so she gets the 3rd point. Hooray! So unless I'm very much mistaken, the Puppet Poison list has scored its second 10 points in 2 games. Joden the 13 Fates scored 4 points for Squatters' Rights, 3 points for Take Prisoner, and no points for Bodyguard, netting him 7. So 10 to 7. What a fantabulous game. I'm not really sure why this crew seems to be working. It's got a lot of activations and I've got 2 summoners, and Collodi is a bit of a beast. But there are arguably better 7 Soulstone models than Lilu. But then again, he's turning up where I need him and putting out the damage when I need him to. As for the Wicked Dolls, I'm pretty sure Marionettes are better. They're certainly cheaper and more durable, but the dolls just keep coming through for me, and I wonder if it's their defense 6, just giving me that top deck advantage. It slowly eats my opponent's hand, and when they do die, they just come straight back. And there's always that slow drift of poison, I guess. And I don't feel I'm playing this list as I should be yet. The goal is to have a wall of cheap little puppets, with Collodi sitting behind them giving them armour and focus, and spamming the Performer's Siren Call to delete poisoned models, with the Widow Weaver resummoning the puppets that fall. But it's just really hard not to justify attacking with Collodi. His attacks are just so good. You do damage, you heal yourself, you potentially draw a card, you slow or steal an action point. It just seems to be worth so much more than giving out a pip of armour. There you go guys, I'm working on it. Hope you enjoyed this, take care.